Hello, I'm Karma Kitaj, and I'm your host for A Livelihood, New Adventures as We Age. As you might know, if you've seen other of our shows, I interview people over age 50 who've started some new adventures in their lives. So today I'm going to introduce you to Andrea Fleck Clardy. And she has had a number of transformations in her career. Starting with publishing, and she now is writing short plays. Let's find out about it.
Hi.
So welcome.
Thank you very much.
So I was very interested to hear about you. We talked the other day. So I know that you were in writing and PR and marketing in your earlier life.
That's right. That was pretty much my professional life. I worked for a sequence of publishing companies, all kind of special interest, either scholarly or socially focused. And the last in the sequence was Cornell University Press, where I worked for about 10 years. And then we moved to Boston, and I continued to work as a freelancer for a while. But I've always written, as you suggested. I had done a variety of different kinds of books, and I have always been interested in theater. So it felt like maybe it was time to combine those interests and start writing plays.
Let's just get a little background about your writing before theater, okay? Because I know you published a number of books on different topics.
I had written a newspaper column in Ames, Iowa, when we lived there for a number of years, and those were collected in a book that's a kind of a snapshot of life in the heartland. And also in Iowa, I wrote a children's book about the accidental death of a child. And
what is the name of that book?
Dusty Was My Friend.
Dusty Was My Friend.
And
okay.
I tried to get it published, and it was very difficult because it was a little ahead of the wave. It was long enough ago that there weren't any books really for children about the topic of death. So it didn't get published for quite a long time. And then when we were in Ithaca, New York for many, many years, I did 2 books that I edited, merely books of photographs more than anything else, about Ithaca and about the small communities around Ithaca. And then also...
And it's a very beautiful area.
It's a beautiful area. And the first, A Sense of Place, the Ithaca was the first one, and that just showed Ithaca with all its waterfalls and gorges and slightly radical people. And it was kind of I was involved in an arts festival there, and this was kind of a tribute to the community that created that arts festival. I also, in that era, wrote a book that was a kind of guidebook for writers to feminist and lesbian periodicals and presses called Words to the Wise. And that, it was an era when there were women's bookstores and feminist periodicals, and all of that was very new and exciting and hard to access. So it was a kind of guidebook for that.
What got you interested in writing books for children?
I have some. And when my sons, we have 2 sons, and when they were little, they were the source of a lot of the best ideas for the column I wrote. And Dusty Was My Friend was based on a real incident. A young friend of my children was killed in a car accident. And the book I really borrowed from them, particularly my younger son, who struggled with the reality of someone being suddenly gone. And we talked about it a lot, and most of the best lines in the book are his.
Fast forwarding for a moment to your plays, I know you also have written plays for children.
Yes, right? I wrote one play, one children's play, and I would have told you that that was about the experience my children had in moving because we moved from Ames, Iowa, to Ithaca when they were quite young, more or less the ages of the kids in my play. And then we left Ithaca, although at that point both of them were grown. In reality, I think it's a play about my experiences in leaving the familiar more than theirs. And children are we're just the vehicle for saying what grown-ups have a harder time saying.
And we have a small clip from that play.
Okay, it's called Hide and Seek.
Musical Hide and Seek. So why don't we play that?
That would be great.
What's up, Mom? We're playing hide and seek, and it's not even starting to get dark out yet.
Allie, can you sit down for a moment?
I'm in the middle of a game.
I know, but this is really important. Well, I just got a call about that job in Chicago. It sounds very promising.
That's great, Mom. Sounds good.
Can you go down? Allie, focus for a minute. Focus. They're going to offer me the job. The job is in Chicago. Well, we have a lot to talk about.
Wait, what are you saying? Are you saying we would move to Chicago?
I'm saying that that's a real possibility.
Chicago? Are you kidding me? We can't do that! We can't live in stupid Chicago!
Allie, listen for a minute. You know, I'm just as upset about moving as you are.
Do you? Sounds to me as if you've already made up your mind. How come you get to decide? Don't I count?
Of course you count, sweetie. How you feel is very important to me. This is a decision that we need to make together. It's a family matter.
So you're saying, though, that maybe in part that play was an outcome of your own
That's
needs.
right, and I think that you know, it's a play that deals with transition, and it has that in common with a lot of the other plays. You know, a lot of the plays that I've been interested in writing are about difficult choices, about moments when your whole world shifts. There's something about theater that just is magic to me, live theater. And I've felt that way for as long as I can remember. And writing plays and seeing them performed is a whole other dimension. You know, on the one hand, at its best, to see something that you wrote sort of come alive is extraordinary. And the play kind of belongs to the actors. It also kind of belongs to the director. So there's something inherently collaborative about theater that's very exciting.
So tell me, I know you've been doing these very short plays.
Well, I've been doing short and very short. The largest number have been 10-minute plays. And the reason for that is that there are lots of 10-minute play contests. And although I've
never heard of that.
Right. Well, it's the sort of thing you wouldn't know unless you were interested in being involved. Boston is actually the home of the Boston Theater Marathon, which is one of the great festivals of short plays. Once a year, Boston Playwrights Theater and BU sponsor a festival. They have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of short plays sent to them. They choose 50. And maybe 8 or 10 of them are written by sort of locally famous or really famous theater people. But the rest, the other 40, are chosen from the hundreds that are sent in through a very complicated process that I could tell you if you were interested, but you probably aren't. And they come down to, they in the end have 50 plays, and there are in fact 50 theater companies in and around Boston. They each choose one play, also a complicated process, and then they present them. Then there are, the shortest play contest I've ever been in were the 1-minute plays. There is an online, it's called GI 60, Gone in 60 Seconds, and they choose 1-minute plays, and they are performed, I think they are performed in Brooklyn, but they don't encourage playwrights to come to the production because they're almost immediately available online. So I've had a play chosen for that.
Well, this has been really fascinating to hear what you do, and I don't know that we've had any playwrights here before on A Livelihood.
Well, it's a pleasure. I appreciate the chance to talk about it.
And I would be very interested in seeing some of your plays.
Great. Well, I'll let you know when they're going to be on.
Yeah, you'll have to put me on your mailing list.
Definitely, I will. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Andrea.
My great pleasure.